With the election getting ever closer, a lot of us have already done the early voting, and the polls keep coming out, and it's becoming more and more evident who is probably going to win. And this guy right here is Boone, by the way. He's a new addition to our family. And so Polymarket is probably the most accurate prediction site that we look at. It takes bets from all around the world. It does not allow anyone from the U.S. to bet unless they're using a VPN and they're pretending not to be from the U.S. But right now, Trump has about 2/3 of the votes. He's at about 66 point whatever percent. Of course, Elon Musk says that the prognosticators are saying it's going to be 69.420 before too long. This is the highest level of certainty for Trump since right after the shooting. And of course, we all remember that back in July. Right now, they're giving the most likely electoral count being about 321. It may be that Trump wins more than that. It may be there's a big comeback from Kamala. But the bond market has been moving, and a lot of people are saying that's because they think there's going to be more growth from a Trump presidency, or that we're going to be seeing more inflation. But the thing is, we see these moves in the Treasury market every year about this time. In September and October, the yields tend to move up just about every year. But a Trump presidency is likely to move the markets in a certain direction for certain different types of things. For one, Tesla's likely to be moving up quite a bit if we have a Trump presidency, because people feel that Trump favors Elon more than Biden-Harris administration favors Elon. It may be that other types of energy do not do as well in a Trump presidency. It may be that pharmaceuticals don't do as well. It may be that food companies don't do as well. And of course, probably cannabis won't do as well. But since Robert F. Kennedy is now a part of the MAGA or IMHO movement, we got to fix this because the dog is getting into it. Since he's a part of that, Robert F. Kennedy is really big on health, and so it may be that we're due for an overhaul of the Food and Drug Administration, and we get to be having healthier foods and healthier drugs, more like Europe and other countries where they don't allow pharmaceutical companies to advertise, and they don't allow a lot of these additives in the foods. And of course, Elon Musk has been big, and he's promoting himself as the leader of the Department of Government Efficiency, as the head of Doge. He thinks that's funny because of the Dogecoin and cryptocurrencies. Many people say that cryptocurrencies will do better under a Trump presidency. They're already voting with their wallets in favor of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. But the funny thing is, every year about this time of the year, Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies tend to do very well. The best months for investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are October and November. That's been the case ever since Bitcoin has been a thing. What we want to stress is that no matter who is elected president, it doesn't make sense to sell out of the market, because those who do end up doing a whole lot worse. Those who stay invested do a whole lot better. But what will bode the best? In general, Democratic presidents have done better than Republican presidents, but Republican Congresses have done better than Democratic Congresses. But what does the best is a divided Congress, and we see the most likely scenario being a divided Congress, where most likely the Republicans take the Senate, the Democrats take the House, and Trump takes the presidency. And the thing is we were saying that it was very likely that with a divided Congress that we'd revert back to the old tax laws. But with a lot of these congressmen saying that they voted in favor of a lot of the Trump stuff in the past, they're trying to put themselves or align themselves with Trump in order to get elected. And so it may be that if Trump, even if the Democrats take control of the House by a narrow margin, it may be that Trump has enough sway with them to get passed through some of his tax reform. When Trump did the Joe Rogan sit down, they were talking about tariffs and how tariffs could be better for the country in imposing restrictions on a lot of these other countries and allowing our companies to be a lot more competitive, allowing more onshoring of jobs into the U.S., And Trump talked a lot about President McKinley, who was the president of the U.S. back in the late 1800s. When there were no income tax, it was just tariffs that were imposed on other countries to generate revenue for the federal government. And so he said, well, maybe we'll just get rid of income tax altogether. We do not see that happening. Income tax has been a thing since 1913, since we had the 16th Amendment. And it may be that Trump may be looking at something more like the Laffer curve, which became popular under President Reagan. And of course, many people know of Art Laffer. He runs a think tank based out of Nashville. Art Laffer came up with the Laffer curve, which basically figured out the best rate to charge as far as taxes are concerned to maximize revenues for the federal government. So if we take into account that we're probably going to be imposing tariffs against countries to help them be fair toward us with regard to trade, and also still have an income tax, it'll be much more like what Reagan put in place with the Laffer curve, and also in combination with tariffs. That can be interesting. So I don't think we're getting completely rid of the income tax code. I do think it's much more likely, with a lot of even these Democratic congressmen saying they voted alongside of Trump, that we may get a tax cut or even an extension of the current tax code. Because right now, if they don't agree on anything, the current tax code is going back to the old tax code, and the standard deduction gets cut in half, and income tax rates go up 3 to 4% for just about everybody. But it may be that even with a Democratic House, Trump may be able to extend the current tax code or even cut taxes a little bit further. So that's what we wanted to cover for today. Because you like these videos so much, please feel free to put your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and stay thirsty for knowledge. And be wary of crazy puppies, because they can get into everything. And that's all.